Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. I am Farron Cousins from Ring of Fire, sitting in for David Pakman today. And what do you say, folks? You ready for some non-Donald Trump news? Because I know I sure am. So let's start with this. Two individuals, Adam Fox and Barry Croft, are now facing a maximum of life in prison after a jury convicted them this week in their plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Now, this plot, I'm sure most people understand and remember what happened, but just in case you didn't, you had these individuals, along with several other right-wing extremists, that became so angry about Governor Whitmer's COVID restrictions that they began plotting, and the FBI actually had an informant within their little group, a guy called Big Dan. Big Dan is in their little extremist group where they're plotting to go and kidnap Governor Whitmer from her vacation home. And they had their weapons. They were practicing with explosives. And that's also, by the way, another charge that they received. But they were going to do this. They were going to overthrow the government of the state of Michigan through this kidnapping plot. This is actually the second time these two men had been on trial. The first one resulted in a mistrial because the jury obviously could not come to any unanimous decision, and the defense had done a fairly successful job of arguing, at least successful in terms of the jury being hung there, of convincing them that the FBI set up basically entrapment for these individuals. The FBI guy, Big Dan, let's not disrespect Big Dan by calling him anything else. Big Dan, basically working for the FBI, convinced these men to do it, right? If Big Dan hadn't been there pulling the little puppet strings, they never would have thought about kidnapping Governor Whitmer. But this time around, of course, the jury said, nah, you are not making a convincing case that Big Dan is the guy responsible for this. So they got convicted again. They're facing life in prison, as their sentence at a maximum. Now, here's what drives me insane about this particular story. These men wanted to kidnap and most likely kill a democratically elected governor because of COVID restrictions. That's what this was over. That's what this was about. And yes, these individuals had, expressed anti-government sentiment on social media for years, which is one of the reasons that the jury this time didn't buy the FBI entrapment argument. But this was the last straw. Like, how dare you try to take care of people during a public health emergency, the likes of which we have never seen in modern America? How dare you tell us to wear masks? How dare you tell us that we have to socially distance? I'm going to kill you because you don't want me to die. Because let's be honest, that's what this was. That's what COVID restrictions were. And we saw it across the country, not kidnapping plots, thank God. But we saw these lunatics burning masks, getting children to throw masks into burning trash cans, protesting over the fact that we don't want you to die. But apparently that's a bridge too far for these freaks. Like, you can't want to take care of them. You can't want to protect them, because if you do, they may try to kill you. Can you wrap your heads around that for just a moment, folks? That's where we're at. That's what we have come to. And of course, we're acting like COVID's not still out there killing a couple thousand people a week in this country, which it is. We don't have any restrictions anywhere anymore. You're free to do whatever, but you're assuming the risks. And we still have people out there trashing vaccines, posting misinformation, ranting and raving about non-existent COVID protection measures, because again, they don't exist anywhere anymore. But they're still mad. They're still protesting. They're still acting like, oh my God, this is terrible, this is tyranny, all because some lawmakers, not even all of them, but just some of them, actually wanted to protect their constituents and not let them die from a deadly disease, which at the time of the kidnapping plot, we had no treatments for, we had no vaccines for. We had no way to protect ourselves other than wearing the masks and socially distancing and avoiding unnecessarily large gatherings. That's all we could do. We didn't have the Paxlovid pills. We didn't have vaccines, as I said. We had nothing. We were throwing the spaghetti against the wall when it came to treatment. That's why so many people died. But I guess that's what these, extremists would have preferred. Let me die. I'd rather die than have to wear a mask. I'd rather kidnap the governor of a state than not be able to go to Chili's for drinks after work on Friday. That is, unfortunately, the country that we live in today.